Hi, Pia. Carsten, welcome.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Lily.
Welcome, welcome. You're arriving to me having a computer disaster with everything going bonkers. So I'm just in the background trying to shut down programs that are not behaving properly. Nothing like a bit of drama to start my event.
How are you, Lily?
I know, poor me. This doesn't happen to me normally. If you could see what my task manager is showing me, it's like 60 instances of Notepad opening up. Anyway, just give me a moment while I see if I can shut things down. This is like life sometimes. Life does this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great to have pressure situations. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming while Lily sorts out her technical issues. It's really nice to have everyone on board here supporting and listening to the information. And it's wonderful to have a few teenagers here as well.
Can you give the instruction about labeling yourself, Rachel, while I'm...
Yeah, if everyone could rename their names and at the end of their name, if you're a teenager, you put a T, and if you're an adult, then put an A at the end of your name. So a bit later on, we're going to do some breakout rooms with exercises, and that means that we can assign the adults together and the teenagers together.
Nice. Alrighty, I think I have calmed down total bedlam in my world. So I'm just going to share screen in a moment and I'm going to play with this fun feature of Zoom, which puts the screen over my shoulder. So give me a moment while I do that. Over my shoulder. There we go. And we're sharing screen too. So give me a thumbs up if that has worked. Nice. So you can see my noggin in the front and your noggins also, and you can see the screen. Fabulous. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Lily Cabrillo. This is a Teens Insight One preview. So if this is not what you've come for, then if you know any teens, stick around because we'd love you to share what you learned from this evening with them. So nice to have you here. Before I kind of launch into the topic for tonight, which is really discovering more about Teen Insight, I really want to introduce Rachel. Rachel, wave at the lovely people. I'm sure
Hi,
all of you
everyone.
know Rachel and her husband, Carsten. You can wave at the lovely people too, Carsten, because this pair of lovely people, along with a plethora of volunteers in the background, have been working diligently to make Insight Teens available in Australia for the first time in 30 years, which is very exciting. Um, very exciting for us to have it available. And tonight, hopefully, if you are new to Insight, you'll walk away knowing a little bit more about it. You'll hopefully have some of your questions answered, and from our perspective, you will rush to enroll because we think this is probably one of the best things to do, best things since sliced bread. We think that this is a rare and special event and experience, and we would love you to have it, but don't want you to miss out. So without further ado, I'm just going to start clicking in. I'd love to know who's in the room. We're going to check in the chat box. The chat box, if those of you who are familiar with Zoom, is a little window where you can access the ability to chat with each other in a chat screen, which, funnily enough, I don't have access because I'm trying to do too many things, but I'm looking avidly. And in the chat box, I would love you to write these 4 questions. Are you new to Insight or are you a grad? So that's a simple, I'm new, I've not done Insight before. or I'm a grad. Who invited you to this event tonight? So how did you hear about this event? Third question is, what did they say about this event that got your interest? Love to hear what it was that made you come. And if you're a teen and your mum said you have to come because I want you to know about insight because you're doing it, whether you like it or not, then feel free to put that down. But even as you're putting that down, if there's something that your mum or dad or a friend has said to you about insight that you kind of went, oh, maybe that would be interesting to me to figure that out or to do a bit of that, then feel free to put that down. And the last question is one thing I'd like to find out from tonight. So if there's anything that I really want to make sure that I know about this seminar or this program before the night ends, that would be great. So those four things. Whilst that's happening, I'm just going to click on the chat box for myself so I can see what's popping up there. Excellent. So I can see I do have a lot of grads, but there are some lovely new peeps. So Pia, welcome. I know that you belong to the two parents who have forced you to come here, but it's good to see you here again, Pia. Nina, welcome. Eleanor, welcome. Sean, good to have you. And look at that, Andrew Bansky from 1978. Are we that old already? Evan, thank you. New to Insight. Wonderful. It would be fun. That's good. They promoted the fun aspect of Insight. And what is Insight about? Well, that's lucky that you came tonight, Evan, because they're the questions I'm going to answer, or some of them at least. Welcome, Sabina. Early 1995. They didn't say anything. It was more the joy and energy that they came to work with. Yes, Insight often comes on the energy field of joy. Fabulous. Welcome, Lorraine. Yes, behind the scenes, working hard to make this happen. Welcome, welcome. Eleanor knew, a friend invited me, that it would help you in the future. And what insight involves is your question. Great. So, Rachel, track these questions, and if I don't answer them fully, then make sure that I do. And you grads, as you listen to the things that I'm saying, please feel free to pipe up and add some of your perspective, because I think everyone has a different experience and insight, and all of our experiences will help people understand what it offers. Awesome. And thank you, Carsten. What made you come is that they said I will be here, and that's a wonderful plug for me. You're in the A list. You're on my good side right now. I like you. You can stay. Fantastic. Lots of value from the seminars. Wonderful. Well, thanks for popping it in the chat box, because it's great to see who's here and what made you come here and what you'd like from the seminar. So let me kick off with these questions. So what is insight? What is insight? Well, insight's been around. It started in Los Angeles in the 1970s, and it was a personal development seminar, and lots of people that did that seminar first did it as a one-off idea, and then the people that came and did it as a one-off idea said, oh my God, this is really good stuff. How do we do this seminar with our friends? Love my kids to come, love my teens to come. So a lot of people had such a good experience. They kind of went, this is education that really helps people live lives better. So out of that first couple of Insight One seminars, all these other seminars were born. The teen seminar came, the children's seminar came, further graduate seminars came. So it really is, it's education and it's experiential. So on that note, the second slide I have here is, what is it not? Now, if you're a teen and you're thinking this thing is called a seminar, and you might be thinking, uh-oh, boredom fest. I don't want to sit there and listen to boring oldies talk at me for days and days on end. So it's not like school. It is definitely not like school, because at school, what the pattern typically is, if you're anything like my school was, at school they talked about lots of things, lots of information that I needed to memorize, and then I needed to prove that I had learned that, or that I knew what they said, or that I had listened, and I had to prove that I did that by writing back the answers that kind of demonstrated that I really got what the subject matter was about. And Insight says you actually have everything that you need already inside of you. Now, that's not to say that life doesn't have more things for us to learn, but in terms of who you are, what you want from your life, what your special skills, abilities, talents are, Insight's premise would be you came in with that preloaded. So Insight, rather than putting stuff in, actually says, let's see if we can pull from you some awareness, some reflection, some insight about what it is that works for you, what doesn't work for you, and how you might create more of in your life. And so, in that regard, it's very experiential. So, it's not like school, it's not listening to a lot of lectures, but it is about the process of unpacking and discovering yourself. Is this making sense so far? I'm trying to do my best to give you a 4-day experience in 5 minutes. I'm doing my best. So what happens in an insight seminar? Most people want to go, well, what do you do there? What does it look like? Like, what are you supposed to, like, do we have to stand up, and what does it look like? So in many ways, it's a mixture of activities, and we mix them all up. So there might be a little lecture like this. I'm going to talk at you for about 10 minutes before I get you to do something. So it could be a little lecture, and then we might put you into an exercise where you get to talk to somebody else, a one-on-one person. You might have a group. We create little resource groups, which are a smaller group of teens. We might give you a game to participate in. We might decide that we've had too much intellectual activity and we need to do a little bit of energizer. So we might go do some dancing or some movement or some breakout of some kind. It's a series of events, lecturettes, conversations, dialogue, all of them designed to have you discover what's true for you, who you are, what you want to have more of in your life, and fundamentally how you can deal with some of the things that might show up for you as you experience life. And so then the last question that most people ask is this one. Well, what kinds of topics do you cover at Insight? Like, what's the gist of it? What are we doing in there? What topics? So as I say these topics, what I'd love you to do in the chat is, if any one of these topics seems like something that you'd like to have more of in your life, and I'm talking about all of us adults as well as the teens in the room, just pop them in the chat. So one topic, and in no specific order, might be, how do I have better relationships in my life with other people, people like my parents, maybe my brothers and sisters, maybe my friends, maybe my teachers, maybe people that are kind of tricky for me in my life. And I say, how do I have better relationships with those people? What are the things that I could be doing or trying in new ways that might give me a better experience with that person? And it might even be, how do I have a better relationship with myself? So some of us would love to feel less shy, maybe, or less anxious, or less stressed, or less confused about the choices in front of us, or less bored, or less anything that you fill in the blank about what you want to feel less of. And maybe we want to have more confidence. Or we want to feel a lot happier, or we want to feel clear about what the choices are that we're making, or we just want to feel more peaceful internally. So maybe it's that I want less of some things and I want some more of other things. Another question topic that we might start to explore are things like, how do I deal with all of the pressures that come my way? The pressures of the things that my parents want from me, my friends want from me, my schoolwork demands of me. If I'm an older teen, then maybe it's time to make a choice about, God, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Do I want to go to university? Do I not want to go to university? What subjects should I be choosing? What kind of things do I want to be involved with? So all of these things are dilemmas. And if you're a human, I guarantee you dilemmas come with the body. Dilemmas are part of the human experience. So at Insight, we really lean into a lot of those dilemmas. And some of those dilemmas are the things that are difficult for us. So difficult emotions, difficult situations. So it could be that we deal with conflict, could be that we deal with resentment or with guilt. It could be that we really struggle with school and the load that gets placed on us. And for some of us, it's things that happen in home life. So in Insight, we kind of get to talk about whatever it is that we bring with us in a way of looking for, how do we make that better? How do we make that work better? Because we kind of go, JR, who founded the seminar, said something like, life is perfect the way that it is, often though we don't like it that way. And the second thing that he said was, the way that you make life more of what you want is you work it. So we're looking for, how do we work it? How do we work the situations, the dilemmas that we face? And we also talk about things like, how can I create more of, and you fill in the blank. How do I have more fun? How do I create more adventure? How do I have more money? How do I have more success? How can I have more of the experiences that I want? I remember when I did Insight, I didn't do it as a teen. I wish I had done it as a teen, but I was in my mid-20s when I first did Insight. And I had a very secret ambition that nobody knew that I had. My ambition was to be a singer. And Insight gave me the confidence to go and try. I wanted to kind of create more opportunities to do something creative like that, but I'd never had the confidence to, I'd never been courageous enough to do it. And so, as it happens, after I did my Insights, my my family background is Serbian, and we have lots of dances. And as it happened, about a year after I did Insight, my Serbian community put on a talent contest. And so, biting my nails, having my stomach drop to the ground, I kind of went, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to enter this singing competition. I'm going to pick a song. I'm going to learn it, all done in Serbian. And I went to the competition and I was singing my song on stage. And later my dad said to me, because my dad was in the audience, my mum was in the audience, it was like my first singing experience was in front of 400 people. So I went from nothing to 400 people. But that's the kind of confidence that I found Insight could give you. Anyway, my dad later said to me that he was standing next to an old family friend who, as I was singing, came up to my dad and said, Boshko. My dad's name was Boshko. And he said, Boshko. And Boshko said, what? And he said, I didn't know your daughter could sing. And Boshko said to him, neither did I. So my dad had a marvelous moment of kind of experiencing a new part of me that I'd never shown anyone. And Insight really puts us in experiences where we start to have the confidence to do things that maybe we've never done before. So these are kind of the four fundamental questions. What is it? What's it not? What happens there? What does it look like? What kinds of topics? I'm going to stop sharing screen for a moment, and I'd love to hear from some of you. Maybe it's grads, maybe it's teens. Grads, what would you offer? What other things does Insight do in those four buckets? What is it not? What happens there? What kinds of topics? Anyone care to share anything that pops up for them?
Yeah, Lily, what I really love about the Insight experience is that, like you mentioned, it's really experiential. And the way it's done is with lots of games. So that makes it really easy to participate in. It's really fun. And then out of the games, then I had my own learning. So it wasn't like someone was lecturing to me and telling me, oh, I should eat more protein or I should do more exercise or I need to think positive thoughts. It was giving me the space to see my patterns and come up with the answers myself, which was really empowering. It's
Beautiful.
fun and empowering. So, yeah, that's what I really enjoyed about Insight.
Beautiful. Tell the folks what you mean by a pattern, and we'll get to you, Sabina, next. When you say to see my own patterns, just expand on that for the folks here.
Yeah, so some of the games are somewhat designed to what I would say press your buttons. And so that means that there could be some automatic behaviors that I have. For example, one of the games that I played, I realized that through that I don't speak up when I think somebody is doing something wrong or not doing it the right way or I have something to share. Quite often I'll shut down and keep that inside, but at the same time, I have internal judgments that I'm thinking everyone else is doing it wrong. They're stupid. Why don't they know how to do it properly? So I'm having all these negative thoughts, but then I'm not actually changing my behavior or communicating or letting people know that there's another way of doing something. So,
Beautiful.
yeah.
So pattern is when you notice something inside of you that holds you back, that you don't voice, that you do because you're afraid of something that might happen. So we're going to discover in the insight process all sorts of things that we do internally that don't support us. Beautiful offer. Thank you, Rachel. Sabina.
Hey Lily, hey everyone. Um, it's interesting hearing you talk about the seminar because one thing that comes straight back to me that I learned was that about myself was that growing up, just through the course of life, people kind of would say no to things that I wanted or thought I might do when I got older. And it's not because they were being unkind, but I don't know, there wasn't enough money, there wasn't this, or I had big dreams and somehow they weren't realistic or whatever it was. But during the course of those experiences, that kind of saying no to me got into how I started talking to myself. So
Mm,
I'd have an idea of wanting something, a new experience or a new, I don't know, something, either something or some experience. And straight away, this kind of voice inside would say, no, oh no, you can't do it. It's not possible. Maybe it's for somebody else, but it's not for you. So on the workshop, I remember just having so much fun with this question of what do you want? And then just being able to say what I wanted. And it really helped me kind of take away that automatic no voice that I had inside my own head. And that
nice.
was so uplifting and freeing and possibility creating and so much fun. And that really came back strongly as I was listening to you just talk just then. So yeah, something about
Gorgeous.
kind of taking off the limits we put on ourselves.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Sabina. Awesome. Anyone else? Anyone else care to say? All right, we're going to keep moving. So one of the things that I wanted to do and what we've been doing as a practice in this preview event is actually try and give you an experience of what it might be like in the seminar. Only a tiny little experience. And tonight's theme is about living a life you love. So the subtext to that is kind of the idea of purposefulness. So let's play with this. I'm going to go back to sharing screen once more. Okie dokie. All right. So this week's Insight newsletter came with this quote, which I really loved, and it fitted the theme for me tonight. So I've stolen it from the Insight newsletter. It's by Nietzsche, who's a philosopher, and he speaks to this idea of purpose. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. So this idea with Nietzsche's words is that purposefulness is really the kind of the thing that makes life worth living. So we're going to play with this theme. And unfortunately, in today's modern age, we've kind of conflated purposefulness to be more like a career choice, or the one way that I get to have a life that's meaningful is by having that one career that does everything, that kind of creates wealth and fame and fortune and all of these kind of role models that we have out there in society. But we at Insight like to kind of think of purposefulness as being more a moment to moment ability that each of us have to choose into something that's more true for ourselves. And the person that I want to cite in this example here is many of you may have heard of a guy called Viktor Frankl. And Viktor Frankl was the survivor of the Holocaust. So he found himself in a concentration camp. He was a psychiatrist. And whilst he was living this unbearable existence and determined to live, because everyone in his family was lost, in the end, he was the only survivor left, and he was determined to endure this terrible experience. But he started to notice something really surprising, and that was that it wasn't the strongest people that made it through. It wasn't even the optimistic ones. For him, what he started to notice is that people that had a meaningful why and a contribution that they wanted to make, even in the midst of this terrible mess, they're the ones that were the most resilient. And for him, he decided that despite the circumstances, that as a psychiatrist, as a doctor, the thing that he could do every day was to get up and to make a difference to the people around him. Be that by a helping hand, be that by comfort, be that by a bit of extra food, be that by listening to somebody. He realized that he needed to do something that would make a difference, and that was his kind of way that he got through every moment of every day. And that led in psychology this kind of discovery of this fundamental premise of being human, which is that we're not primarily driven by pleasure or success or money, but we're actually really motivated by meaning. And it's not to say those other things aren't things that we want and things that add joy to our lives, but he kind of discovered that human beings are fundamentally about contribution. When we contribute, when we make a difference to the little sphere that we live and work with, no matter how small that sphere is, that we actually tend to have a happier life. And he kind of said that most people ask the wrong question. They kind of ask the question, what do I want from life? And he turned that around and he asked, and he said, he posited the idea that, well, maybe it's not what do I want from life. Maybe it's what is life asking of me? So we're going to do a little bit of a exercise, a little bit of what we call one-on-one sharing in the Insight room. In a one-on-one sharing, we pick a partner A and a B. And in this forum, we're going to do our best, or Rachel's doing her best, to make sure that teens are paired with teens and adults are paired with adults, so that you kind of have people in your own genre. It's great that you're popping on your videos so that you can see the people that you're paired with in the room. And it's okay if you've got two in one and you paired up with somebody that's a one, that's all fine. And what I'm going to suggest is, if your name alphabetically is the first alphabet letter to come, you're partner A. And partner A, you're going to be asking the questions. And the way one-on-one works is, in a moment, I'll show you some questions. Partner A, you're going to be asking your partner the questions that are on the screen. And partner B will be answering the questions, and you'll have about 5 minutes for each partner to ask and answer. So I'm going to show you the questions, the process one-on-one. And when these are up, Rachel's going to take a screenshot and put the screenshot in the chat so you don't have to worry about recording or remembering. But the first question is, think of a moment when you are doing something and you feel fully engaged. You kind of feel alive. You're in the moment. It's freeing. It's really fulfilling. You lose track of time. This could be something where you're on your own, or you could be with others. It doesn't matter which kind of way it lives. So for me, when I think of something that I'm fully engaged, where I feel alive, and it could be anything in your life, and probably each of you have many topics, but I'm thinking of when I gather with people who are musically minded and we're kind of doing a jamming, sing-alonging, multi-person harmonizing, people have got instruments. I just light up in those moments. Second question, I've started answering it. Describe who's there, if anyone, what you're doing, what you're involved with, and just do it in as much detail as you can. So I remember times when I would be with a group of friends, and there would be guitars and there would be tambourines, and there might be 6 of us or 8 of us, and somebody would pull out a songbook, and then we'd all start singing. And some people have great voices and know how to harmonize. That's not me, but oh my goodness, I get goosebumps when people harmonize beautifully. So there's something about that community and the music that's being created and the spontaneity that I just really love. It lights me up. Third question is, now describe your inner experience. So for some of you, this could be cooking. Like, I can't think of the worst thing that I could be doing than cooking. But for some of you, this could simply be cooking. I know Sabina, I know her quite well. I know she loves gardening, pulling out weeds and pruning things. And I go, oh my God, I can't think of anything more dull. So it doesn't matter what the topic is, whatever it is that is that thing for you. So describe your inner experience. What are you feeling? What is it about this activity that you enjoy? How's it adding value to yours, other people's lives? Do your best to answer this question. So for me, the inner experience is just joy. It's like I just have such joy, and it really transports me into a place of peace. Like, I love hearing voices come together. I love the sound that music makes, and often comes with a lot of laughter too, because it comes with dud notes as well as nice notes. So there's something about connection too. I feel really connected. And I love the sound that gets produced. It's really uplifting. This question, I'm going to have to do another slide on this question, but it asks, what skills or qualities from your essence does this draw upon? So there's 2 things. It could be qualities, like the inner qualities that each human has, things like loving, my caring, my joy, my creativity, my courage, a daring, my adventure. And it might also be a talent or a capability, an intelligence that I have. And I'm going to show you a slide in a second so you know what they look like. And at the end, the question becomes, how could you express this more? So I'm going to do the next slide and then I'll come back to this one, these 2 questions. So back in the 70s, a guy called Howard Gardner said, we kind of in school tend to rely on one predominant intelligence called, mathematical or writing. And he said there's actually way more complex intelligences. And he came up with 7. He kind of went, there's this naturalist, the people that love, like Sabina, loves to be in living things, in nature, with things that grow. Then there's this other intelligence, which is bodily or kinesthetic. So those people that love to do things with their body. And I know Sabina's son does a lot of rock climbing. He's 14, and like, that's a real bodily kinesthetic intelligence to be able to navigate your body around climbing walls. Another one is logical mathematical. Like, that's one of my other ones that I love to deploy. I love Excel. I love a good Excel spreadsheet. I don't know what to tell you, but somehow I just enjoy that little world. Then there's an intrapersonal intelligence. So people that really deeply understand themselves, that have sensitivity to other people, that have empathy, that can feel into other people's emotions. Um, it's a really powerful intelligence. And then there's this musical intelligence. There's some people that can get on an instrument and just play it. It's extraordinary. Um, then there's linguistic intelligence. I know a friend of mine who actually speaks something like 7 languages and she does it effortlessly. And I go, God, I wish I had that intelligence. It's actually a known superpower skill. Oh, sorry, intrapersonal is self, interpersonal is others. So it's about deploying that sensitivity with others in relationship. And the last one is spatial. This one I do not have whatsoever. This is orienting yourself in the world, in buildings. It's those people that love orienteering and reading maps. This is a real intelligence. Those people that can picture how the box gets unpacked and reformulated. So it could be that there's something about one of these intelligences that's playing out for you in that moment. So the questions become, I'm going to go back to the other set of questions. So what skills or qualities? So it draws on my joy and creativity really when I'm singing in groups. They're the qualities that come up for me. And the intelligence that I'm tapping into is is that definitely that musical one, but I think it's an intrapersonal one. So I'm kind of really connected to myself, strangely enough, when I sing. When I sing, I have an ability to draw on emotions. You know, like there's singing is a very emotional thing for me. So that's the intelligences that I draw on. And the last question is the primary one. How could you express this quality and draw on this talent even more? And it doesn't have to be big. So my creativity, it's like my creativity I draw upon every day. So even as I was prepping for this event tonight, I love the process of going, what will I do with these folks around purpose tonight? So I went looking on the web because I had this kind of rough formed idea. So in my work, I can express that sense of the intelligence, the creativity, and the my caring that comes out of that. So it's in my work where I could express it more. And probably, I think I could just sing more these days in the house, just around the house, just put on some karaoke backdrop on YouTube and have a little bit of a sing sesh with myself because it just brings me so much joy. Alrighty, so Rachel, you take a screenshot of that and pop it in the chat. I think you already done that. You've done that. Give me excellent. And so we're going to give you 5-minute warning when it's time to swap partners. Partner A, remember you're the one that's asking first. Your alphabet first letter of your first name is first. So whoever you end up with, if you're Andrew or Banksy, you've got Buckley's, you're going to be first, whichever way you poke at it. So have fun and come back prepared to kind of notice or share something that was meaningful for you. All right, Rachel, take them away. Lorraine, I think you have a join button on your screen. No, she's frozen. There we go.
Cute. There's one room of 3 people. And one room has a teen with a teen, but I saw there was an adult in the room as well. So
that's okay. All righty. How are we going?
To broadcast. Whoops. And I need to time.
Yes. It's not recording while we're in breakout, or is it?
Oh, it is. I'll just pause it.
Just to navigate. So there's the dates. There's a QR code for you people who are au fait with that technology.
You
Well,
haven't
hang
shared the
on.
screen.
I
Lily?
haven't. No, I haven't. I have now. I saw that myself. So there's the information. It's at Nam. Where's the suburb, Rachel, again?
It's in Surrey Hills, but
Sorry.
the name of the venue is actually called the Baldwin Community Centre, and
Beautiful.
Naarm is the Indigenous name for Melbourne.
Ah, fantastic. Thank you for educating me. That was a faux pas. So this is the information. That website will give you more information, give you a place to register. Just really, I want to say thank you so much for coming tonight. I really want you to go back to the person that invited you and say, thanks for letting me know about this thing. I really appreciated it, because it takes courage to share with others something like this, which is kind of unknowable. We don't know really what it is until we've done it. But when somebody, I think only your best people, best friends of your life actually recommend you to do Insight, because it really is a life-changing experience. So, love you all to take yourself off mute. And as we say farewell, let's do a little bit of a checkout with a one word, how I'm left feeling as a result of this little 1 hour foray into Insight. So, one feeling word, how I'm left feeling. Mine is joyful.
Mine's grateful, Lily. Thank you so much for
Thank you, Lily.
hosting.
Awesome.
My great pleasure. I so would look forward to seeing as many of you teens who are on the call. And just to say, Rachel and Carsten are absolutely available at your beck and call if you have any other questions. I am too, so feel free to let them know that you'd like a chat about anything that you want to know about before the seminar. I'm more than happy to do that with you. And even if your friends haven't made it to tonight's seminar, there's one more, or tonight's intro event, there's one more intro event that that we can invite them to, which is next week. I don't have the date up here or the registration code.
Next Thursday, Lily, I believe.
Thursday next week, is that right? Yes. Beautiful. So Rachel will send that out as well, but feel free to let them know about that, and feel free to reach out if you need anything. All right.
Thanks, lovely Lily.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lily. It was great.
Look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing you there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Great
Lily.
workshop.
Thanks, Lily.
This was being recorded, wasn't it? Is it something we can share with people? It would be fantastic for those who couldn't make it.